Welcome back, everybody. In this video we're going to talk about one of the most tender and flavorful cuts of beef called the Spinalis Dorsi and how you can get it for yourself. Let me know what your favorite cut of beef is by leaving it in the comments below. Okay, what exactly is Spinalis Dorsi and where does it come from? Let's find out. Okay, I have a whole bone-in ribeye on the left and a whole boneless New York strip loin on the right. And right where the two connect would be your small end of your bone-in ribeye, and on the left side of your bone-in ribeye will be your large end ribeye, and that's the end that connects to your chuck. The Spinalis Dorsi, or the cap of ribeye, is the thin muscle that is on the outside of the ribeye opposite of where the bone would be. You can see here on the large end of the ribeye that the cap muscle is really thick. You can see, like, let me clean some of this off. Like right here you can see the cap. That cap right there is really thick on the large end. Right here's your petite ribeye, which is real small. Now on your small end of the ribeye, there is no cap muscle, you can see. On your large end, the petite ribeye shrinks while your Spinalis Dorsi gets larger. The Spinalis Dorsi muscle runs along this primal, and you can generally get between 6 to 8 pounds of cap of ribeye meat per steer. To give you some idea how little meat that is and how special this muscle is, you get about 12 pounds of tenderloin, 25 pounds of New York strip steaks, and 26 pounds of brisket per steer. In a grocery store, you will rarely, if ever, find the cap of ribeye removed from the ribeye steak, since most people have grown accustomed to seeing it on there. Don't get me wrong, the petite ribeye by itself is an awesome steak, but having the cap of ribeye left on it makes the steak even better. Now that we've got most of the heavy skin removed from the beef ribs, this is the part that makes the ribs really tough and chewy, so if you remove that heavy skin off there, it makes your ribs a lot more tender when you cook them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and break this ribeye about 3 ribs from the large end. Now you can see when we pull this apart, you can get a better look now of the cap muscle that covers the top of your ribeye. Now taking our knife, we're going to go ahead and follow the back side of these ribs and keep the blade pressed up against the ribs so as not to cut into the meat, and remove this small rack of beef ribs from the rest of the ribeye roast. The cap of ribeye is much more tender than the rest of the ribeye, and the texture-wise, I think it's an awesome combination of a filet mignon and a skirt steak, in that it is super tender like a filet and has the muscle fiber definition of a skirt steak. It doesn't, however, sacrifice flavor for tenderness. It has a wonderful beefy flavor as well as a good amount of marbling, which all adds up to an awesome piece of meat. We're going to go ahead and start by removing a lot of this excess heavy fat on the exterior of the ribeye. This would be like your tail end. We're going to pull this off there and get rid of that. And then we're going to go ahead and come in here to the inside and remove just a little bit of this fat so we can find the seam to follow the muscle along the cap muscle. Alright, you can see if you follow the seam and just roll it right on out, you can pull this excess fat off the top of the ribeye, and there's your cap muscle right there. You come in here with your knife and gradually separate that from the petite ribeye below it. There you go. And keep rolling it and following that seam along. You can just roll that cap muscle right off the top of the ribeye. Like I mentioned earlier, you will probably never see this cut of meat in your grocery store meat case. You'd need to find a very high-end butcher that could get you one. Another option would be for you to talk to your butcher and buy the whole primal rib. This is actually an awesome way to save money on your steaks. Have them cut off the cap muscle and cut the rest into some great petite ribeye steaks. The next time you have a ribeye steak, be sure to take a couple minutes to really savor this delicacy. It has a flavor and texture you won't find in any other cut of meat. Now that we have the cap muscle removed and we're cleaning up the petite ribeye portion, we're going to set that aside. Now the piece that we've been waiting for, the Spinalis Dorsi. We're going to go ahead and clean this up, remove some of the extra fat, trim it up, get a little bit of the sinew off of it, and this is the ribeye cap muscle that we've been talking about. And there you have it. Now we're going to take this cap muscle and we're going to roll it up kind of like a pinwheel. Then I'm going to take some butcher twine and I'm going to go ahead and tie this into little, about, 1 to 2 inch steaks. And that way it'll hold the muscle together when you're grilling it or pan frying it. You probably won't want to drop $100 plus on a steak every weekend, but the cap of ribeye is a special cut you should splurge on at least once for a special birthday dinner, anniversary, or a big promotion, or something along those lines. And there you have it, Spinalis Dorsi steaks or Ribeye Cap Steaks. The remaining muscle here is basically considered a petite ribeye steak. It's a ribeye steak without the cap muscle. I actually prefer a petite ribeye over a ribeye steak because a lot of that fat and sinew in between has already been removed. Next to the cap muscle, this is my second favorite cut of beef. And there you have it. You have your petite ribeye steaks, your cap ribeye steaks, and your beef back ribs. We're going to go ahead and pull the rest of these beef back ribs off this other half and slice these into regular boneless ribeye steaks. And there you have it. When you get down to the small end of the ribeye where there's no cap muscle left, that's the end that connects to the end of your New York strip. And there you have it, your petite ribeye steaks, your Spinalis Dorsi steaks, your beef back ribs, and your boneless ribeye steaks. If you find these videos at all helpful, then please click on the subscribe button, then click the little bell icon to be notified of any new videos that are uploaded. Thank you for watching.